What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Netflix series Castlevania New Season 3. Hey, before you watch this review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you would like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. First up, I would like to say thank you to Netflix for granting me the screener to the entire 10 episodes of this new season. I also would like to inform you that I was never too familiar with Castlevania video game series. I never played it. I don't know about it that well. Therefore, I will not make comparisons here. In addition to that, this is the first review that I've done of this show. So what happened was, as soon as Netflix granted me the screeners, I immediately binge-watched the first 2 seasons. And then, of course, I went on to watch the whole Season 3. So even though I won't be spilling spoilers in terms of Season 3, I will, however, be giving you some context or refresher about the previous seasons. So that part of this video might get spoilery. Just a heads up there. In other words, this review probably would only be helpful for those of you who are true fans of the show. Phew, okay. Now that we got that out of the way, overall, what do I think of Season 3? Well, having watched the entire thing, I gotta say that Season 3 is not as strong as its predecessors. Yes, the dynamic between Trevor and Sypha is still fun. They are like friends with benefits type of couple who fight together and tease each other, but the big bad common enemy is now gone. So separating the trinity that was Alucard, Sypha, and Trevor kinda takes the excitement down a notch. The storyline that the writers have for Alucard, especially in this new season, is underwhelming and overdrawn, and it's something that could be finished in just a couple of episodes, but yet instead they drag it out through the entire 10. I find myself not being able to care about their ordeals as much as I do Trevor and Sypha. I feel like the show has hit the wall and faced the same dilemma that the characters encounter, which is the question of what is there left to do now? Inspired by the classic video game series, Castlevania is a dark medieval fantasy following the last surviving member of the disgraced clan of Belmont. With the help of a speaker and a hybrid, trying to save Eastern Europe from extinction at the hand of Vlad Dracula Tepes himself, who in the first season vowed revenge for the murder of his wife. In the previous season 2, Dracula and his legion of vampires were hell-bent on getting rid the world of humanity's stain, but the trio, Trevor, Sypha, and Alucard, dared to stand in their way. Now in season 3, in the aftermath of Dracula's death, Trevor and Sypha are traveling, Alucard remains at the castle in misery, and Isaac is returning to Europe for his revenge. But Carmilla is now reunited with her vampire sisters of the Styrian ruling court. She sees a way to take advantage of Dracula's demise and build a new future, and she needs the imprisoned Hector to achieve it. The aspects that I find appealing about this show luckily are still intact. I tweeted the other day that Castlevania is deliciously violent, so you can expect the same to happen in this new season. Vampires and night creatures ripping villagers' limbs apart in order to drink their blood, or images of spears stabbing through an eye socket. Poor townspeople and villagers, man. They always get the short end of the stick. It's kinda sad watching them run around like roaches before they get mangled to pieces. Very gory, very gnarly, very brazen. Obviously, with a writer-producer like the legendary Warren Ellis who doesn't hold his punches, you are bound to get something as graphic as this. I also like the voice stars. all of whom are perfect in their respective roles, and the way they interact with each other is enjoyable. The character designs, of course, have that Japan-style anime, and the action sequences are bold and hardcore. If you thought that the first season was too short, and the second season was not enough, well, this time they're giving you 10 episodes. Although an argument can be made that they should have stuck with just 8. But part of that reason is, like I said earlier, because they scattered the key characters all over the place, the scripts had to come up with these multiple plots to let you in on where they are and how they're doing right now. One thing important to notice is that this new season 3 is a bit more brave in its depictions of sex scenes. I don't remember the previous seasons having much of that, but this season 3 is like they just let it all out, and the sex scenes are pretty steamy, I give you that. Don't worry, it doesn't amount to the level of hentai, but it's pretty hot. So those are some awesome reasons that make this season 3 worth watching. But again, they oftentimes get overshadowed by the parts that I mentioned earlier. Parts that make this season just simply not as strong in its entirety. Isaac, for example, is on a mission to forge more night creatures. That's pretty much the crux of his whole journey. While there is some philosophical undertone that occasionally challenges his rather narrow view on humanity, but that aspect unfortunately gets stretched farther and longer than necessary. The whole time I was watching Hector, Isaac, and Alucard doing their separate thing, I was just begging for the show to return to focusing on Trevor and Sypha, because unlike the others, those two have become sort of like the A-team, you know, going from village to village, getting hired by locals to kill night creatures and other supernatural pests. So much so that Trevor and Sypha could probably have their own spin-off procedural standalone show. There are additional new characters in this season 3, but they either don't have much impact or we don't fully know their whole stuff, so they become more or less an afterthought. Castlevania Season 3 suffers from the same problem that afflicts most sequels. The problem of where do we go from here? And thus, this season tried to somewhat copy Game of Thrones. You know, those seasons when each of the members of the House of Stark was experiencing different personal struggles. So when you apply that format, you run the risk of fans ending up favoring one plot over the other. What Castlevania needs is another common unifying big bad villain to bring all these characters together again. Because right now, this new season 3 just feels like a bridge or a companion piece, and an aimless one at that.